Hey guys, it's Ellen here, and today we're working on some very simple winter watercolor postcards. Oh, this is so simple. Wet and wet technique. I show you how to do all this and just paint in the little tree branches. It's really simple. So if you have any questions, leave in the comment section. Also, don't forget to hit the bell notification button to know my tutorial's up, and check out my Patreon. I have a link in the description box. I have exclusive tutorials there on Thursdays with traceables, and I have ad-free videos from my YouTube on there, and traceables from the YouTube channel. There's no traceable for this because we're just going to wash in color and we're going to make little branches. Very simple. So let's get started. Okay, so to get started, we're going to just talk about some supplies. I'll have 2 pieces of these arches, 100% cotton cold press 4x6 inch pieces. I've just taped them down on some cheap cardboard with some Scotch tape. I like to tape it down so that when I'm doing wet on wet, it stays in place, it doesn't move around, and it doesn't buckle. When you're not taping it down, it kind of buckles. Water jars, paper towels. I have my brushes. I'll go over them as I use them, and my paints, and everything is in the description box for every single tutorial. And I have links to actual products on there as well. So this is going to be just really simple tutorial for the day after Christmas. We're gonna let's break it down to basics. I'm just gonna take my pencil and I'm just gonna go over here, halfway down here, and go down here, and then over here to like 2 little snow mounds. And now we're just gonna start to get the paper a little wet up top here. I'm gonna grab a bigger brush, this Princeton Neptune number 12. And I'm just gonna put some water. See, I'm just pushing it around right here. Not touching the snow. This is where the snow is going to be, this mounds. Just right back here. And over, just paint that whole area above the snow mounds. And just see, I'm not doing the whole entire, well, actually I could. Let me just paint the whole thing with water. Make this easier for you, even really easy for you. We're just going to dab in some color. I'm going to put trees behind it. So we're going to take some cadmium yellow deep. It's a little too bright. I'll add a little brown to that. I have vandyke brown. I have some blues and some grays. I have some grays over here. Some blues. I got some grays on the right hand side. I'm going to grab some of that magenta. This is quinachradone magenta, and I'm putting it next to the cadmium yellow deep, so it's a little orangey brown. And I'm just going to tap in some of that color, maybe a little more yellow, just like that. We're going to be tapping in some yellows and some grays and some blues, just tapping in that color. Maybe grab some brown, tap that in. See, and it's going to spread out like that. Go in and put some more yellow. Okay, and now we're going to grab some, I have a bunch of grays over here, so whatever grays you have. Actually, I'm going to make some grays right here next to blues. Bluish gray. And I'm just going to tap, tap, tap. Right there. And here. Going to grab some more blue. That's a little too dark. We're just going to do a mixture of like blues and grays and browns. So I'm putting some browns in there. Grab some more gray. Like brownish gray over here. I'm going to tap more of my grays down the bottom here. Don't get like caught up in like if it's not the right color. Add a little more blue. A little more blue to this, a little blue-gray. I'm going to go back and add some more yellow. Just like that. Yellow. Again, I'm going to add some more of this gray. So we're just tapping, it's doing these blooms basically. And we'll eventually put some, you don't want to touch that white area. where the snow is going to go. Trying to make some bluish gray here. Some of it's coming out kind of greenish. I don't want that. There we go. Tapping some of that. It's a little too dark. I'm going to have to lighten it up. Just moving the color around. Yellow. Really want some of this golden, orangey yellow down here. And over in here. And then add some more gray blue tones here. See, we're just tapping it. We're not doing anything fancy. Tap, 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 tap. It's a little darker. And get a few darker tones. Just teeny bit tips. I'm going to kind of keep it light in here. All right, well, it's still damp over here. We can add some blues. I'm going to take my Prussian blue. I'm going to add some quinachradone magenta to make it more of like an ultramarine type blue. And I'm just going to flushing in some sky. Now it might have dried, so we can just kind of get it really loose and wet, like I'm getting here. And try not to paint where the blooms are, just this whole area. Just like that. May want to come in a little bit. So it's all wet on damp now. You can add a little bit of darker tone, just coming down in here and here. It's a blue sky, winter sky. This is still damp. I'm going to add in a few more colors in here. A little more grays. Just a few. I'm going to tap in some more gray. Remember not to touch the snow area. Tap in some more gray. Just like that. I want to keep that white part nice and clean. Just like that. I'm just going to tap in a few more grays. I'm going to just tone down this yellow a bit. Just like that. So then at this point we're going to let all this dry, because if we start messing with the snow here and it starts to go into this section, it's going to bleed. You could at this point though, if you wanted to play with the snow, I'm going to grab my Princeton 8 long round, just like in this part, in the section in here. So the blue that we had before, I'm going to add a little Payne's gray or black to it. I'm just going to make it more dull, not as bright. Like a grayish blue, maybe a little more magenta, purpley. Okay, we can add some shadows where the snow is here. I'm gonna wash it down just a little bit more. It's a little too dark. Just some lines down here and then go like this. Just put some little lines going across. You can wash in this color like that. Kind of doing snow shadows. And then the same thing over in here. Just like that. Your shadows don't have to look exactly the same as mine. I'm just going to wash in some shadows. Don't touch that right next to the edge. See, taking some water and just pushing this paint around a little bit, just loosening it up. That's how simple that is with the snow shadows. You can get a little bit darker kind of in the crevice here. Not too much though. I'm kind of constantly like taking away and adding. Very careful touching that snow next to that colors we just put in. And then just a little out here. All right, so at this point we have to let the whole thing dry, because if we don't, it's going to be a problem putting in the trees. I mean, you can try, but it's going to bleed because it's pretty damp. You want to wait till it's just a little bit damp. If you want to put the trees in, it's just going to bleed. So we do want a kind of mystical tree. So we do want it still kind of damp, but not as wet. So I'll show you. I'm going to grab this brown. I'm going to add some black to that. Make it deep, deep, deep brown. Very minimal amount of water. Now you could use this brush, or you could use the number 4. I might switch to number 4, Princeton Long Round Velvet Touch series. Like I said, all the brushes are into the description box. So let's see how much it's going to bleed. I'm going to just put a little branch just to test. Yep. So it's bleeding too much. We want it bleeding a little bit, but not that much. Yeah. It's pushing out the color a little too much. I'm going to have to wait a few more minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll start to paint. So it's just kind of like this. You get a feel for, it's still a little wet, so it's bleeding a little bit, but we don't want it so wet that it's, you know how we did with these, the blooms going out this way. Oh, see? Look, right here. I got too close to that, and the other color came right in here. So we just take your paintbrush, get some water on it, lift it up, paper towel, lift it up, paper towel. I'll have to go back in and fix that part right here. Just tap in some more gray. It's not a big mistake, but just I didn't want that to happen. All right, so I'm gonna let this dry and we're gonna come back. Okay, it's dried somewhat. It's still a little damp, but we're gonna get some really nice concentrated paint here. We're gonna make some trees. So I'm taking the number 4 brush. I'm gonna just start from like this part of the white snow and go upward. So it's kind of bleeding a little bit still because it's still damp in here, but we want that mystical quality to it. And I'll put another branch here. I'm gonna get really tiny. I'm actually gonna grab some more paint. Okay, I cheat with a little bit of black gouache. I like to make it really dark. Okay, so now it's really dark with minimal water. Oop, that's bleeding a little too much. Gonna make the little branches. Oh, it's still drying. All those little branches. So when it's still a little damp, it starts to bleed a little bit, so it's good. It gets that mystical branch quality. I know some people were asking about some of those mystical trees and forests and watercolors. So the catch is, the trick is to do it when it's slightly damp. Just making little tiny branches, and you're using very minimal water on. It's really concentrated paint to get that. You still have the quality of seeing the branch. And at this point too, if you had a credit card, you could, if I can find my credit card that I was using. There we go. Trying, while it's still damp, scrape up a birch tree. It might not do it. It slightly did it. See, you get those birch trees. Yeah, there's that one. And then you can go in and add a little black or a dark color right next to it to highlight that it's a birch tree, and then add the branches. You can have fun all different ways with doing this. See, I'll make it a little darker on the side here, coming down. So just putting that, see how it's scraped up and had a little bit of that highlight of white. You just kind of put the black dark color right next to it, or gray, on that one side. And I'm just putting these little tiny branches, which is so much fun. And then you can just put some dark trees back here, crisscrossing. You could spend an entire day painting little branches. I know I could. It's very therapeutic. This one middle one got really kind of fuzzy. I'm just going to go back over it with the paint, more concentrated. And that's just going to ground it a little more. See, I'm just painting all these little fuzziness. And put some little trees back here. Very simple. We just did those blobs, and we're just painting some really simple branches. Let's see, zoom in a little more. See, just take the brush, nice tiny brush, because this paper is small, and I'm just adding all these little branches. You want them looking very organic, so crisscrossing, wiggly. You don't want them all straight. That doesn't make sense. Just like that. Really simple. I mean, if you want to throw in some grasses, I'm going to just water to take off paint on that. I'm going to grab that Van Dyke brown, add it to some of this cadmium yellow deep. So I got this nice deep yellow. You could throw in some nice yellow grasses here up front, you know, some in here. Not too many, because then it looks too cheesy. Put some back here. We don't want it looking cheesy, but just really simple. And it got a little washed out here, so we can go back in, even just the Princeton 8. And we're just going to wash in some grays again. See? Grays and browns or greens, blues, whatever. It doesn't have to be some perfect. Just going to wash in some more color. Going to grab some of this brown. It looks really dark, so I'm just going to wash it down again. But I felt like it got too light. You can go right in here next to the tree. Not a problem. Not everything has to have that perfect bleed. Just take it and add some more color. Just like that. And even go back in here and do the same thing. feel like I want to add some more color right in here like I'm doing. That's pretty simple, right? And the hair got washed out a little bit. You go back in and add some of that blue, even darker blue. Same thing here. And for the trees, let's see if we're getting the shadows this way. Add some shadows. The grass. Just like that. Ooh. Okay, we don't want to get too crazy. So that's the first simple winter postcard. Actually, I'm going to do a little more down here. Woohoo! I know you can get crazy with the snow. And actually put little ones next to that grass. Teeny ones. Okay, so that was the first one. Like I said, you can go back in and add some more trees. Actually, I'm going to dry this because what happens is, okay, I'm going to show you something. See, it's starting to buckle. It's kind of curling up like this. That's why you want to wait till it, tape it down, and you want to wait till it dries, and then it'll dry flat. If not, you can just blow dry it, and it'll dry flat. So right now, I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to blow dry it flat, and then I'll remove the tape. Okay, so we did all that. I'm going to remove the tape. Now I noticed that here it got kind of messy, and I lost some of my paint, but that's okay. I mean, not everything's going to be perfect. It's real life. So I got like a little bloom in here, but that's fine with me. I don't mind it at all. I'm lifting up some of the cardboard with this tape. It's funny, it won't hurt the paper, but it really kills the cardboard. So there's that one. Cute, right? Simple. Look. I'm gonna grab my pencil. So I think I'm just gonna do, like, again, a little more sky. Taping this down, making sure this is taped down. And then figure out where I'm gonna put the horizon. So I'm gonna do maybe the snow here, going kind of down. And then some mountains, kind of going here. And then it might have some trees going this way. So figure that out. Actually, I think I might make it opposite. Depends on how much sky do you want. I'm going to erase that. I'm going to just go down a little bit further. So I'm going to go down with the snow. And then mountainish kind of area here. And then we'll figure out some rocks over here. The trees will kind of just paint in. So again, this might be, we're going to get this whole top area wet with this Princeton 12. I'm going to flush in some nice blue tones. So I can use this similar color or just change it up. I'm going to go grab my magenta. Gives it that ultramarine kind of color. And add a little brown. Not every sky has to look exactly the same. So I'm going to wash in some blue. And you can have it bleed downward. So I washed in up top. You lift the cardboard and just go like that, and it can just kind of bleed downward. So it's lighter on the bottom, darker on top. You kind of want to go that way. And it will stop where the water stops. See that? If it's not going down fast enough, clean off your brush. Just grab some water, just swipe, and it will start to move downward. See how it's just puddling where the water stops? You just lift it up with your brush. It's going to stop where the water stops. Just like that. Just going to keep playing around with it, pushing the color around. Could add a few darker tones, some grays. Winter is not exactly always pretty. We lost our snow. We got rain, 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 and it's all gone. That got a little too dark. Take some of that out. Get that blue back in there. I'm gonna get this puddle. Just like that. There, then we have our sky. So we really need to wait for that to dry in order to put the paint next to it, because that's going to be a problem. Meanwhile, I can work down here a little bit. I'm going to put in some blue. So mixing up that magenta with the blue. It's kind of ultramarine. This is where my snow is going to be here. This background here is going to be like a mountainish kind of thing. So I'm going to put some snow. Grab some gray. So it's blue, gray. I made too much gray. I want it brighter. Okay. It's this constant battle between the bright and the light and the gray and the blue. Okay. Figure out which colors work for you. Okay. I digress. So I'm just going to wash in some of this color here. This will be like the shadows. And up in here. Like I said, this is going to be like a mountain kind of scenario. Just going to wash in some blue. And then I'll put some little rocks down in here. So we've got some gray, some brown, maybe a little of this yellow. Turned it a little green because it was next to blue, right? Got the brown next to that. Maybe a little magenta, so get rid of that green tone. Again, more blue-gray. I'm just tapping it. See, I'm just tapping the color. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, tap. This looks like little rocks. Let me put a few over in here. Gonna lighten up that gray. Some brown. And some more gray. So we're gonna let this dry because we want to put this mountain area in here. And let all this dry, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna just whip in some trees and the mountains. Okay, so that area is dry. So this whole white band right here, I want it to be like background kind of mountains and trees. So I mixed up this like bluish, purplish, very light though. And it's gonna go in here. I'm a little bit darker actually. Sorry. It's a little too light. I have my magenta. And touch it back. Okay, got my color. So I want to kind of like this darker tone on the edge. And I'm just gonna wash my brush off. So I just did a little line like that. Get some water. Just go in here in this band. And at this point, I'm gonna add in some like bloom trees. You know, like just take the brown and tap, let it bloom. Bloom trees. All right, you can even grab some green, that olive green. Mix in with some of that Prussian blue. I'm just going to be tapping in some color. Browns, greens. More browns than anything. Grab some of this magenta. Just tapping in some browns. It's really wet, my taps, but you can remove it. And I'll add some yellows to that. My yellows turn green. I gotta get rid of that. Want it more on the orangey. Tap in some yellow. And more brown. I'm going to take my Princeton 8 long round now at this point. And this mountain back here, I want to just kind of, looks kind of weird. I need it to have more of a mountain feel. So I'm going to just make it a little jaggedy. There we go. And then push that color paint, jaggedy. Right? It was looking kind of strange. Not much of like a mountain. Adding some darker color in that area. And like I said, I'm going to go back in and add some browns, some grays. You want this area kind of really dark. Yellow's looking a little too bright, a little too fallish, so I'm going to just tone that down. Just wanted a hint of it. Maybe add some magenta, a little orangey, brown. I just wanted a tinge of it. Really don't want it to be looking like it's a fall tree. It's supposed to be looking more like a rustic tree. So I'm grabbing in some deep colors in here. More grays I'm putting back in here. You see, you want those tones, and if it's too dark, you're just gonna whip it up like this with your paintbrush, swiping it up a little bit. I'm gonna go back in and I'll add some like more blue grays. It's not all brown. Just tapping in. And that's pretty much it. We don't want to get too crazy. So now at this point, we're going to go in and add just a few more of those shadow colors. Remember about touching that other color here. Get real close, but don't touch it. If we touch it, we buy it. No, I'm kidding. It's going to be bleeding into it, so I touched a little bit there, but that's okay. You can wait till it dries. We're going to have to wait till it dries before we put our trees in. But just going to put some snow shadows coming down here. This way. Even a little bit darker. Okay, so I'm going to tweak these rocks a little bit. I'm going to add just a little bit, few darker colors. Just pushing them in like this. And then I'm going to let this dry. See, I'm just adding some, just washing in some real simple blacks and browns. The rocks shouldn't look, you know, realistic. I mean, it should be many different tones. I'm going to grab some golden color and just make some grass right near the rocks. Peeking through. Again, you can get crazy with grass. Be careful. All right. Now I'm going to let the whole thing dry, and we're going to come back. Okay, so it's dry, and look at, there's a little dot. Again, remember I scraped up that dot over here? There's a little dot there. So we're going to use that to our advantage. Well, not use it to our advantage, but we're going to get rid of that dot. Again, we're going to make some more trees with dark brown, black. Simple. And since that is there, I'm going to have to make a branch covering that dot. Oh, it's gone. Simple branches. It's just whooping up like this. See? Like that. We're not doing anything fancy. Have the tree coming down right in the foreground here. Swoop, swoop, swoops, just like that. And the tree in the foreground. Swoop, swoops. Really just expressive movements like that. And then we could put another one over here. I like to do things in threes. Painting that dark stump in the foreground. Just swoop, swoop, swoop. You can get technical with the branches if you want. This is an easy one. I'm just going to go swooping lines. Just like that. If you want to take some white gouache and add some snow to it, we can do that. Getting a little darker here. So when that dries, or if it doesn't dry, you just take some white gouache. I have some white gouache. And just on some of the areas, like here, just throw in some white gouache, like snow that's stuck on the tree still. You know, like in the crevices. Just a little bit on the side. Just where those V's kind of meet. Maybe a little on the branches. It just adds a little something, something. You don't have to, I wouldn't do it on all of them, just a few. Just where, you know, in the darker areas where the, see it's dark in here. Just put a little snow on the branches and on the tree. And then you can put a little snow on the rocks. Just a little bit. And that's that. At this point you can, you know, manipulate the ground even more. Just a little, throw in a few more darker tones again. Back here. Just manipulate a little bit. That's pretty much it. So I'm going to lift that up. Oops. And that was pretty simple, right? So this one curled a little bit after drying. Gotta curl it back. Those are our two simple winter watercolor postcards. Voila! I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Hope you guys had an amazing Christmas holiday. Got some rest or got lots of goodies. And if you didn't, no big deal. I got nothing, so. And I laugh about that because I don't really, what do I need? If I want anything, I buy it for myself. I don't need to have people buy me presents. It's kind of, I'm just getting old. I mean, if they want to surprise me with something fabulous, that's great. I think I'm actually going to be buying myself a mattress for Christmas. Very exciting, I know. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming to my channel. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. And have fun. Just play around, like washing in the color, wisping out the little branches. Play around with that. Have fun. I hope you have a fantastic day. Also, don't forget to hit the bell notification button to know my tutorial's up. And don't forget to check out my Patreon. I have exclusive tutorials there on Thursday. and they come with traceable. I didn't do a traceable for this. It just makes no sense. It's going to be free flowing, and you guys can totally do this. So take care, guys, and I'll speak to you soon.